Smoke and fire covered the horizon. The evacuation docks were full of people running, carrying their belongings, or dragging small animals and devices behind them. Alien ships of all shapes and sizes hovered above, waiting to take as many passengers as they could. Panic filled the air like electricity. Every second counted. In the middle of the chaos, a young dragon boy lay on a cold metal platform. His wings were small and fragile, torn in places, and his legs did not move. He could not stand. He could not run. People passed by, looking at him only as a problem, a weight they could not carry. Too weak, they whispered. Leave him. Some even pushed him aside to make room for others. A human mechanic named Eli, wearing a grease-stained jacket and carrying a toolbox that rattled with every step, saw the boy. Most humans were rushing to get aboard the evacuation ships. Eli did not have a fast ship. He did not have a plan. But he noticed the boy's eyes, big, golden, and scared. The boy was looking at the departing ships, trembling. Eli knelt beside him. Hey, can you move? He asked. The boy shook his head. Eli saw the marks on his legs and the way his wings drooped. He felt a knot in his chest. Humans often ignored things they could not fix. But Eli had always liked fixing impossible things. The officer in charge barked orders. Move. Everyone must get aboard now. Leave the cargo behind if it slows you. Eli looked at the boy again. He could not leave him. Not like this. He lifted the boy carefully, one arm under his back, another supporting his head. The boy froze at first, unsure if anyone would care. Then his body relaxed slightly. Don't worry, Eli said. I've got you. People shouted at Eli to hurry. The evacuation was almost over. Alien ships were beginning to lift off, their engines screaming. Eli ignored them. He carried the boy toward a hangar at the edge of the docks. The hangar was old, abandoned, and full of broken machines. It smelled of oil and metal, but it was quiet compared to the chaos outside. Eli laid the boy down gently on a padded bench. You're safe here, for now, he said. The boy looked up at him, uncertain. I thought I would be left behind, the boy whispered, his voice soft and trembling. You almost were, Eli said honestly. But I don't leave people behind. Not if I can help it. The boy's name was Zyron. He had never left his home planet before, and he had never felt anyone care about him like this. Most people ignored him, even his own family, because of his paralysis. But Eli treated him like he mattered. Zyron's golden eyes followed Eli as he looked around the hangar, his mind trying to understand this human who did not run, who did not abandon him. Outside, the sounds of evacuation grew fainter. The last few ships disappeared into the sky. Eli checked the hangar doors. They were old but strong enough to hide from patrols for now. He turned to Zyron and smiled. Looks like it's just us for a while. But that's okay. I don't mind being alone with you. Zyron blinked. He had never heard anyone speak like that. Most humans he had met were polite but distant. Eli's words were simple, but they carried weight. They meant trust. They meant hope. Eli crouched beside a pile of scrap and broken engines. I think we can make something that can move you, he said. Zyron tilted his head, unsure what Eli meant. Move me? He asked. Yes, Eli said. I can build a machine. You won't need to walk or fly. You'll move on your own. Fast, maybe even faster than the ships that left today. Zyron's eyes widened. He had never imagined anything like that. People told him to accept being left behind, to stop dreaming. But this human, he was promising a chance. A real chance. Eli went to work immediately. He pulled engines, wheels, and old pod parts from the scrap piles. Sparks flew as he connected wires and checked circuits. Zyron watched quietly, fascinated by the movements, the sounds, and the smells. For the first time he felt like he belonged somewhere. Hours passed. The hangar was quiet except for the hum of tools and the occasional clank of metal. Zyron tried to speak, but words did not come. Instead, he reached out and touched the edge of a wheel Eli had polished. Eli looked at him and smiled. Patience. We're just getting started. Night fell outside the hangar. The sky turned dark, dotted with distant stars. The sounds of war faded, leaving only the hum of the hangar lights and the faint wind outside. Zyron lay on the bench, exhausted from the day, but his mind was alive with new ideas. Could he really move? Could he really leave the hangar under his own power? Eli cleaned his hands on a rag and leaned back. Tomorrow we start building the real thing, he said. Zyron nodded, a small smile appearing on his face. It was the first smile he had shown in a long time. As they rested, both of them looked out at the stars. Eli thought about the challenges ahead. Engines to repair, circuits to connect, controls to build that a dragon boy could use. Zyron thought about moving, racing, feeling wind in his wings even if he could not fly. For now they had each other. And in that simple fact, both found a spark of hope. Eli had refused to leave Zyron behind. And that choice, small, human, stubborn, was the first step toward changing everything. Outside, the galaxy was still full of danger. Ships might return. Patrols might search for survivors. But in this quiet hangar, a human and a dragon boy were no longer just surviving. They were beginning something new. And somewhere deep in Zyron's heart, he dared to believe that being left behind did not mean the end. It meant someone had chosen to stay. The hangar was quiet except for the hum of old lights and the occasional drip of water from the ceiling. Outside, the sky was dark, but Eli worked with steady hands, sorting through piles of scrap and broken machines. Engines, metal panels, wires, and odd mechanical parts were stacked in corners. Most people would see junk. Eli saw possibility. Zyron sat on the bench, watching. His golden eyes followed every movement, trying to understand the strange human who had refused to leave him behind. What are you going to do?" he asked quietly. Eli wiped grease from his hands and smiled. "I'm going to build you a pod. Something that will let you move. Fast, safe. Not flying, but fast enough to feel free." Zyron tilted his head. He had never imagined anything like that. He had always been told to stay still, to accept what he could not change. But Eli's words felt like a promise. A pod?" he whispered. "Yes," Eli said. "A pod. Wheels, engines, controls you can manage. You'll be able to drive it yourself. You'll feel speed in a way no one expects." The boy's eyes lit up. For the first time in his life, someone believed he could do something others said he could not. Eli began to work, taking engines from broken racing pods that had been left in the hangar for years. He tested each one, turning dials, checking for sparks and repairing what he could. Metal clanged, sparks flew, and the smell of hot oil filled the air. Zyron leaned closer, fascinated. "Can I help?" he asked. Eli shook his head and smiled. "Not yet. You watch. Learn. Later, you'll control it better than I ever could." Hours passed. Eli welded parts together, shaped metal plates, and connected wires that seemed impossible to join. Zyron kept silent, but his mind raced. Could he really move? Could he really feel the wind on his face and the ground below him, even if he could never fly like other dragons? At one point, a piece of metal fell, clanging loudly. Zyron flinched. "It's okay," Eli said, picking it up. "Every machine needs mistakes. Every racer, every pilot, every person who tries something new, makes mistakes. That's how we learn." Zyron nodded slowly, understanding in a way words could not explain. This human made mistakes and fixed them. He believed things could be repaired. And maybe, just maybe, so could Zyron's life. By late night, the pod's frame was mostly assembled. It was a strange shape, with small wheels and a seat molded to fit Zyron's body. Tubes and wires ran along the sides like veins, ready to connect to controls. Eli stepped back and wiped sweat from his brow. "Tomorrow we start the engines," he said. "We'll see if it moves." Zyron watched the pod, his small hands brushing the smooth metal. "You really think it will work?" he asked. "I know it will," Eli said. "It might not be perfect at first, but it will work. You'll see. You just have to trust it. And trust me." The boy nodded. He wanted to trust, but fear still clung to him. He had been left behind before. He had been told he could not do anything. But something about Eli's calm voice, his hands steady on the tools, made him believe in the impossible. The next morning, the hangar was quiet again. The sky was light, pink and orange from the rising sun. Eli checked every wire, every engine, every control panel. Zyron sat in the pod seat, his body strapped in safely, wings folded. "Are you ready?" Eli asked. Zyron swallowed and nodded. "Yes." Eli connected the last wires to the pod's controls, which were designed to respond to Zyron's movements and neural signals. "Remember," he said. "It's okay if you're scared. Start slow. Feel it? You control the speed." The engines roared to life, low at first, then louder. The pod trembled slightly under Zyron's weight. He gripped the controls, heart pounding. The pod moved a few inches forward, then stopped. Eli adjusted a lever. The pod moved again, smoother this time. Zyron's eyes widened. He was moving. A small smile appeared on his face. I'm moving," he shouted. "Yes," Eli said, clapping once. "That's it. You're doing it." Zyron laughed, a sound full of wonder. For the first time in his life he felt speed, even if only a little. The wind from the hangar doors brushed against his face as the pod rolled forward, faster now, under his control. The joy was simple but powerful. It was not flying, not yet, but it was freedom. It was a chance to be more than what others expected. It was proof that someone had chosen to stay. Eli watched silently, adjusting the pod settings. "You're better than I thought," he said. "Faster reflexes than most pilots I've seen." Zyron's laughter filled the hangar. He had never imagined feeling this alive. Every movement, every turn, made him forget the pain of being left behind. Every wheel of the pod carried him farther from fear. By night, the pod was moving reliably. Eli and Zyron sat together on the bench, exhausted but happy. Zyron looked at Eli, eyes shining. "Thank you," he said softly. "You don't have to thank me," Eli replied. "You did this. I just helped you get there." Zyron nodded. He understood. The human had built more than a machine. He had built hope. And for the first time, Zyron felt like he could belong anywhere, not just in the hangar, not just on this world. Outside, stars shone faintly through the hangar doors. The galaxy was full of danger, but inside, a human and a dragon boy had found something stronger than fear: trust, courage, and the start of a dream that could not be left behind. The hangar was quiet in the early morning, but the air felt electric. Eli had been up for hours, checking the pod's engines, adjusting wires, and testing circuits. Zyron sat in the seat, strapped in carefully. His heart raced, a mix of fear and excitement. Today was the real test. Today he would see if he could really move. Eli crouched beside the pod and checked the controls. "Remember, slow at first," he said. "Feel how it moves. Don't panic. You control it, not the engines." Zyron nodded, gripping the handles tightly. He had practiced moving his fingers over the control panels in small motions before, but this was different. The pod had real power now. The engines hummed like low growls. Sparks flickered along the circuits, and the smell of heated metal filled the air. "Okay," Eli said. "Let's start." He pressed the switch and the pod vibrated lightly. Zyron's chest tightened. He pushed the control forward slightly. The pod moved a few inches. Then it jerked backward unexpectedly, making him yelp. "It's okay," Eli shouted. "It's normal. Engines are new. Try again slowly." Zyron took a deep breath. He adjusted his hands, careful not to press too hard. This time the pod moved forward smoothly. Then faster. Zyron's eyes widened. He was moving under his own control. The pod glided across the hangar floor, wheels squeaking against the metal. I'm moving," Zyron said, voice trembling with excitement. A small laugh escaped him, loud and free. Eli's eyes lit up. "Yes, that's it. Keep it steady. Feel it? You're doing it." Zyron pushed forward a little more. The pod picked up speed. He could feel the vibrations through the seat. His heart pounded. He had never felt anything like this. Every second was a mix of fear and joy. He had always thought he would never move fast, never feel the thrill others felt when flying or running. But now, with this pod, he could. "Look at you," Eli said, laughing softly. "Better than I imagined. You've got the reflexes of a born racer." Zyron's small smile grew. I never thought I could move like this." "You're doing more than moving," Eli said. "You're proving something. You're showing that being left behind doesn't mean the end." For the next hour, Zyron practiced. He learned how to steer, how to adjust speed, how to stop without jerking the pod. He fell a few times, almost tipping over, but Eli was there, steadying the pod and adjusting the balance. Zyron's confidence grew with every attempt. Then a sudden loud noise outside made both of them freeze. Enemy patrols were scanning the area, their ships hovering near the hangar. Eli's face went serious. "We might not have long," he said. "You have to be ready to move fast." Zyron's heart pounded. This was no longer just practice. The pod was now their escape, their chance to survive. He glanced at Eli. I can do it," he said. "I know you can," Eli said, adjusting the last wires. "Just remember, it's you controlling it. Trust yourself." The patrol's lights flickered outside. Eli opened the hangar doors slightly. The sunlight hit the pod, reflecting off its metal frame. Zyron gripped the controls. The engines hummed louder, vibrating under him. He pushed forward. The pod surged ahead, faster than ever. The ground blurred beneath him. For the first time, Zyron felt freedom. He leaned forward instinctively, the wind brushing against his face, the vibration of the engines thrilling him. He was not walking. He was not flying. He was racing, moving faster than he ever imagined. His wings trembled with excitement, even though they could not carry him. Faster. Eli shouted, smiling wide. "You're doing amazing." Zyron turned, dodging a small obstacle in the hangar, his confidence growing with every movement. The pod responded perfectly. He laughed, a clear sound that echoed through the metal walls. He was alive, powerful in a way he had never felt. But then the pod hit a small bump. It jolted violently. Zyron panicked, hands shaking. The pod veered to the side. Eli shouted, "Control it. Pull back slightly." Zyron obeyed and the pod steadied. His chest heaved. He realized he had almost lost control. Eli crouched beside him afterward. "See? That's normal too. Every racer hits bumps, mistakes happen. What matters is how you recover. You just learned faster than most." Zyron nodded slowly, breathing heavily. I thought I'd break it," he admitted. "You didn't," Eli said firmly. "You learned. That's what counts. You're moving. You are alive. That is more than anyone expected." Zyron smiled, smaller now but full of pride. He had never felt this way. For the first time he believed that being paralyzed did not mean he was powerless. He could do something. He could move. He could race. The day passed with more tests. Zyron learned to stop, turn, and accelerate smoothly. Every time he succeeded, his smile grew wider. Every time he fell, Eli encouraged him. By evening, the pod moved like an extension of Zyron himself. It was no longer just a machine. It was part of him. Eli sat back, wiping grease from his hands. "Tomorrow we take it outside. The real test will be the open ground, the empty fields. You ready?" Zyron's eyes sparkled. "Yes. I can't wait." Eli nodded. "Good. Remember this feeling. The pod moves because you move it. You control your speed, your path. That is strength. That is what no one can take from you." Zyron leaned back, listening to the quiet hum of the engines. For the first time in his life he felt like he belonged somewhere. Not just in the hangar, not just on this broken world. But in the galaxy, moving fast, with someone who believed in him. The sun set outside, painting the sky red and orange. The pod rested in the hangar, ready for tomorrow. Zyron's small hands stroked the metal frame gently. He had learned something bigger than speed. He had learned that someone could trust him. And that trust gave him power, courage, and hope. And deep down he knew that when the pod moved tomorrow, it would not just carry him across the ground. It would carry him toward a future where he could never be left behind again. The morning sun barely touched the horizon when Eli opened the hangar doors. The pod waited outside, gleaming in the soft light. Zyron's golden eyes sparkled with excitement. Today was the day. They would leave the hangar and test the pod in open ground. The field beyond the docks was wide, flat, and empty, a perfect place to see what the machine could really do. Eli checked the engines and connections one last time. "Everything looks good. Ready to go?" Zyron nodded, gripping the controls tightly. His heart raced. The hangar had been safe, predictable. Outside anything could happen. But he felt ready. The pod had become part of him. The first few meters were cautious. Zyron moved slowly, learning how the pod reacted to bumps and uneven ground. It responded perfectly. He felt the wind in his face and the vibration under him. For the first time he understood what freedom felt like. Eli ran alongside him, shouting instructions and encouragement. "A little faster. Lean into the turns. That's it." Zyron obeyed, and soon the pod glided smoothly across the field. Each turn was sharper, each stop more controlled. He laughed, a sound of pure joy. "I'm really moving," he shouted. From a distance, a patrol drone buzzed by, scanning the area. It was an automated security drone, part of a nearby outpost. Zyron froze for a moment. Eli whispered, "Keep going. The pod is faster than it looks. You control it." Zyron pushed forward. The pod accelerated. The drone tried to follow, but it could not match his speed. Zyron felt a thrill. He had outrun it without even trying. Eli smiled proudly. "You see? You're faster than anyone expected." News of a dragon child racing in a human-built pod spread quickly. By midday, other ships in the area had recorded the scene with small cameras. When the footage reached communication channels, people across nearby systems began to talk. "Did you see that dragon kid?" one pilot said. "He's disabled. And he outran a patrol drone in a homemade pod." Zyron was unaware of the attention. He focused on the field, practicing turns, controlling speed, and even learning small jumps over uneven terrain. Every movement gave him confidence. For the first time he did not feel weak. He felt powerful. Eli watched silently, making minor adjustments to the pod. He did not cheer loudly. He did not need to. Zyron's laughter and focus said everything. Tomorrow we can try longer distances, Eli said. See how far you can really go. By evening, Zyron and Eli returned to the hangar. The pod was covered in dust and Zyron's small body was tired, but his eyes glowed with excitement. Did I do good? He asked, still panting. You did amazing, Eli said. Better than I ever hoped. People might start noticing you now. They'll see what humans can do when they refuse to leave someone behind. The first attention came sooner than expected. Across the galaxy, alien species and human colonies alike began talking about the Dragon Boy and the human who had built the pod. Clips of Zyron racing spread on news networks, forums, and communication channels. Messages of wonder and disbelief appeared everywhere. Some were curious. Some were inspired. Many asked questions. How could a disabled dragon move so fast? How did a human make this possible? Across star systems, one thing was clear. Humans, even ordinary humans, could do extraordinary things when they refused to give up on others. Zyron listened to Eli explain what was happening. People are noticing us, Eli said. Not just you. Not just me. They are noticing what humans can do. They are noticing courage, determination, and kindness. Zyron blinked. Kindness. Yes, Eli said. Sometimes the smallest acts, like refusing to leave someone behind, can change more than we realize. The galaxy will remember this. That night, the hangar was quiet again. Zyron lay on the bench, exhausted but happy. He thought about what had happened that day. He had moved faster than drones, outrun patrols, and proven to himself that he could do things others said were impossible. But more than that, he had shown that a human had believed in him when no one else would. Eli sat nearby, cleaning tools and planning improvements to the pod. Tomorrow, he said, we can try more than speed. We can test agility. Maybe even some tricks I've seen in old racing competitions. Zyron smiled weakly. I want to try everything. You will, Eli said. And someday people will talk about you the way they talk about great pilots and racers. Not because you're a dragon, not because you're paralyzed, but because you refuse to be left behind. Because someone refused to leave you behind. Zyron's eyes glowed softly. He had never felt so alive. The pod was more than a machine. It was proof that he had value. That he could be strong, fast, and free even if others thought he could not. Across the galaxy, messages continued to spread. Humans, aliens, and even neutral observers began asking, who built that pod? How did a Dragon Boy move like that? And quietly, one small truth emerged. Humanity's strength was not only in technology or weapons. It was in the courage to help those others would leave behind. Eli looked at Zyron and said softly, the galaxy is starting to notice, little one. And when it does, people will learn something important. We don't leave our own behind. Not ever. Zyron's small smile widened. For the first time, he understood that the pod was not just about speed. It was about hope. It was about trust. And it was about proving that even someone left behind could make the galaxy take notice. The sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. The hangar was calm. Outside, the galaxy waited. Somewhere, pilots, soldiers, and ordinary people saw a clip of a small dragon boy in a pod, racing faster than anyone imagined. And they wondered, if humans could do this, what else were they capable of? Eli packed his tools quietly, glancing at Zyron. Tomorrow we push further. You're ready for more. And the galaxy will keep watching. Zyron lay back, exhausted but proud. He had moved, he had raced, and now he had made the galaxy pause even for a moment to notice him. And for the first time in his life, he believed that being left behind did not mean the end. It meant the start of something bigger. The hangar was quiet in the morning. Zyron sat in the pod, waiting. Eli checked the engines one last time. The pod was ready. Today would be more than a test. Today it would show the galaxy what a human and a dragon boy could do together. Are you ready? Eli asked. Zyron nodded. Yes, he said, though his small body trembled with excitement. He had raced in the field before, outrun drones, and tested the pod. But today felt different. Today he would prove something bigger than speed. They rolled out to the open field beyond the hangar. The wind brushed against Zyron's face. He gripped the controls tightly. Eli gave him a small nod. Go at your own pace. I'm right here. Zyron pushed the pod forward. It glided smoothly across the ground. Faster and faster, he felt the vibration through the seat and the wind on his face. He leaned into turns instinctively. The pod responded perfectly. He was alive. Free. Powerful. From a distance, communication signals began to arrive. People had shared the clips from the day before. Now representatives from nearby colonies, neutral planets, and even other dragon clans were watching. Some had ships hovering above the field, curious. They were not there to attack. They were there to see. Zyron's laughter rang out as he practiced maneuvers. Eli adjusted small levers and checked the engine temperature. "You've come a long way," he said. "The galaxy is watching. They're learning what humans can do." One of the ships descended closer. A neutral envoy hovered just above the field. A translator drone sent a message: "We wish to meet the child and the human who built this." Zyron froze. His heart pounded. He had never thought he would be noticed. Not like this. Not by so many people. Eli smiled and patted his shoulder. "Go on. Show them what you can do." Zyron pushed the pod forward faster than ever. He executed sharp turns, dodged small obstacles, and even made a controlled jump over a small rise. The envoy observed silently, recording everything. Every movement showed skill, courage, and determination. When the pod finally slowed and came to a stop, the envoy's voice came through the translator. "This child is extraordinary. This human's work is remarkable. We wish to honor both of you and learn from your design." Zyron looked at Eli. They want to learn from us?" he whispered. Eli nodded. "Yes. You've shown something no one expected. You've proven that even those who are left behind can do incredible things with the right help." The envoy offered advanced medical support for Zyron. They had technology that could strengthen his legs and wings. But Zyron shook his head. "No," he said softly. "I don't need that. I have the pod. I can move. I'm not weak." Eli smiled. "Good. The pod is yours. It shows the world what you can do. That is more important than fixing your body." News of Zyron and Eli spread rapidly. Stories appeared across communication channels. A human mechanic who refused to leave a dragon boy behind, a boy who could move faster than patrols in a pod built by someone who cared. People from other colonies, other species, even other dragon clans shared the story. They were inspired. They asked questions about courage, trust, and helping others. Zyron realized something. This was bigger than him. Bigger than the pod. It was about choice. About refusing to leave someone behind. About humanity, not just machines, not just strength, but the courage to act when others would turn away. The day ended with Eli and Zyron sitting in the hangar. The pod rested beside them, shining in the late sun. Zyron stroked the metal carefully. I never thought anyone would care," he said softly. "I did," Eli said simply. "And that's enough. One person can make a difference. That's what humanity can do." Zyron smiled, a small, proud smile. For the first time in his life he felt like he mattered. Not because he could move on his own. Not because he could race. But because someone chose to help him, to believe in him. In the following weeks, other humans and aliens began experimenting with designs inspired by Eli's work. Podracers, mobility devices, and machines for those who could not walk or fly spread across colonies. The story of a human mechanic and a dragon boy showed that innovation came from care, courage, and persistence. Zyron continued racing, learning new tricks, and enjoying the wind. He never forgot the day Eli had refused to leave him behind. That day had changed everything. He realized that his disability did not define him. His choices, his courage, and the people who believed in him did. Eli returned to his workshop, quietly repairing other machines. He did not seek fame. But he watched Zyron race on monitors, smiling. The boy's laughter and joy were enough. Humanity had not just built machines. They had built hope. They had fixed something far more important than metal or circuits. One evening, as stars appeared in the sky, Zyron leaned back in the pod, exhausted but happy. Eli sat beside him, silent but present. Zyron's eyes shone with wonder. "You know," he said softly, I think humanity fixed more than my legs." Eli nodded. "Yes," he said. "We fixed the idea that no one is useless. That everyone matters. That no one should be left behind." Zyron closed his eyes, listening to the wind and the hum of the pod. For the first time he felt completely safe, completely alive, and completely free. The galaxy had noticed them. And now it would remember. Humanity had shown courage, compassion, and determination. And one small dragon boy in a pod built by a human had raced into the hearts of the galaxy. It was not just a victory for speed. It was a victory for trust, hope, and what it truly meant to care. The pod rested quietly, ready for the next race. Zyron and Eli sat together, knowing that what they had built was more than a machine. It was proof that even when the world expects you to fail, someone's belief, courage, and heart could change everything. And the galaxy, watching from afar, had learned a simple but powerful truth. Humanity never leaves its own behind.